Okay, I shook the sample a few times, but just for your view, I'm gonna just do it one more time. So this is just the actual product from the round bottom flask. I added about 30 milliliters of water, and I add just a little bit of distilled water to the round bottom flask, and then I transferred everything in here. You can see two layers. The bottom is the aqueous layer, and the top is the organic layer. So make sure the stopper is closed. Flip it upside down. Shake. Vent. Shake. Vent. Make sure it's pointed right up, not towards your face or towards your lab partner's face or somebody else's face. Okay. So you don't cause any. I can already smell that beautiful banana flavor into the when I was transferring the product into the from the round bottom flask into the funnel. I could smell that beautiful flavor of banana slash apple. Was just good. So we know that we made our ester because the N-butanol, I don't know if you smelled it. Oh, it smells nasty. So this smells much more fruity and more pleasant. So we know that we've made our ester. Well, that's good enough. I'm gonna set it back. Let the layers separate, just like we had earlier. Separating funnel is such a beautiful invention. Imagine us trying to do this without a separating funnel. Oh, it'll be so painful to use a pressure pipette to siphon out the two layers. Oh, this is great. Okay, you can see our layers have separated. It looks a lot cleaner actually since I've shook. The aqueous layer was a lot more cloudier than it is now. It's a lot more cleaner. Okay, to which I am going to add 10 milliliters of 10% sodium bicarbonate. If you really want a good quality saturated bicarbonate solution, I recommend you heat it up a little bit, but up to 8 grams it's pretty good. But I'm using 10%, so I've added about 10 grams of sodium bicarbonate in 90 milliliters of distilled water. Now, students wouldn't need to prepare this. This could be prepared a little bit ahead of time. So if you have free time in your hand, I would highly recommend you heat up the solution a little bit to dissolve more of but it's saturated, okay, so it really doesn't matter. So I'm going to add 10 milliliters of saturated sodium bicarbonate. Keep in mind, we added about 2 milliliters of sulfuric acid in the round bottom flask when we were commencing the reaction. I hardly think there's not going to be that much left, but always be careful whenever you add a bicarbonate solution to an acid solution. Oh, I can't tell you what I see. You saw that? That's why I told you not to go really fast. You don't want to dump this whole 10 milliliter of sodium bicarbonate into this flask because there's still some unreacted acid. Did you see that? Oh, that's beautiful. That's like Dr. Pepper. That's like a party between Dr. Pepper and banana juice. Oh, that's really nice. We're just trying to get rid of any of the unreacted acid, so it's much more safer. Well, you can always add a little bit more. I mean, I've added 10 milliliters. That's all the procedure recommends. But you can always add just a little bit more for good measure if you want to get rid of more of the acid, or if you just think that it's cool to see those. Ooh, did you see that? That looks like flaming Dr. Pepper, except there's no flame. Oh, that's really cool. Anyways, that's enough with the fun part. So I've added 10 milliliters of sodium bicarbonate. This time you've got to be extra careful. You already saw just how much bubbles come through. So don't shake for too long. Did you hear that? You have a lot of acid and sodium bicarbonate. Definitely don't want to point it at your face or your lab partner's face. You want to vent very frequently. You don't want to shake for a minute. That's too long. You can still hear it. You really want to be careful here. Eye protection, very, very important. I recommend you wear gloves as well. All right, I'm gonna allow the layers to separate, and I'm gonna extract the lower aqueous layer, and then add 10 milliliters of distilled water into the organic layer, and then I'm just gonna drain it into either calcium chloride or sodium sulfate, which are both anhydrous, which means you can remove moisture. And I think that's pretty much where what I'll be doing when I come back. So I'm going to allow the layers to separate and then extract the lower aqueous layer and then wash the organic layer twice with distilled water, 10 milliliters each time. All right, I'll be back. Okay, this is my lower aqueous layer. I extracted it into a clean beaker, and I'm going to work with the organic layer. As I said earlier, we're going to wash it twice, each time with about 10 milliliters of distilled water. So I'm going to add my distilled water. Okay. Put the stopper back on. Make sure this is locked. Flip it upside down. Shake, 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 shake. Ooh, wow. You definitely want eye protection, and you don't want to be doing this without any eye protection. You could go even vigorously if you wish. Okay, that's good enough. I'm gonna allow the layers to separate, and then I'm gonna do this one more time, collect all my aqueous layer, and then I'm gonna distill. After this process, we're gonna extract it into sodium sulfate, which would get rid of any moisture, and then you transfer whatever's left over in that process to distill to get you. So we will do a distillation. So again, this lab may not be done in one lab period. So if you could extract your organic layer after the 2 water washing procedure into sodium sulfate, it really doesn't matter. Just add a scoopful of the sodium sulfate into a clean Erlenmeyer flask or beaker, whatever of your choice, and then this will allow to get rid of moisture, and then save whatever's left over in a clean vial or some other form of storage, and then when you come back next class, you can do the distillation. Okay, sorry, I was trying to think of something else. And so are we good? Okay, so this is the first of the 2 water washings. After that, I'm going to wash it one more time, collect my all my aqueous layer here. This can be disposed of in your aqueous waste container. We have one, so it's going to go there. And then extract the organic layer directly into some sodium sulfate in a clean flask, beaker, whatever you have. And then you could also do it in a extra large test tube, because it's really easy to transfer out of a test tube, and then save that in a vial. And then when you come back next lab period you can do the distillation and then get the purest methyl acetate. I already know that I've made my ester because every time I open the stopper to do something, it smells amazing. I mean, it smells nothing like N-butanol, but there's probably some unreacted butanol in here, which is why we are doing the distillation to make sure that the product is super clean. Okay, well, I'll come back again and just to show you the sodium sulfate extraction, but then I'm going to stop here, and then when I do the distillation, I'll walk you through the distillation procedure. Okay, all right, stay tuned. Okay, as I said, I extracted the organic layer twice with 10 milliliters of distilled water and collected the aqueous layer along with the other aqueous layer we've collected, and then got rid of them in the aqueous waste. Now I got a clean test tube. Make sure the test tube's clean. I put some sodium sulfate on the bottom, and then I'm going to extract slowly directly into this, my organic layer. You want to be careful. Get every last bit of drop in here. Oh, it smells good. It smells like apple or banana. Okay, you can see I collected it directly over sodium sulfate, and then I'm gonna shake this a little bit to extract any moisture that's left in it, and then transfer the layer into another clean test tube and save it for distillation for next class period. So this is how much you can accomplish in one lab period. Obviously, distilling the pure N-butyl acetate may have to wait for the next class. You can see that's my organic layer. So I'm going to stop here and then save the top layer and then get rid of the sodium sulfate again in my aqueous waste, and then use the top layer to distill to get my N-butyl acetate. Okay, that will happen in the second lab period. So when I do my distillation procedure, I'll come back and record a video and show you how it's done. All right, stay tuned.